Are you looking to boost your Amazon product conversion rates through the power of A+ and premium A+ content? In this video, our guest Daniela Boltzmann shares smart tips on redesigning A+ content for a positive impact on your conversion rates. And if you would like Daniela's help to work on your product listings, use the link below in the description.
Hi, Daniela. I'm really excited to have you back here on OrangeClick channel to talk about Amazon A+ content. And today, I know you have a lot of good things to share with us from which Amazon sellers could learn how they could improve their own A+ content. Before we go to the details, could you first introduce yourself and also let us know what you do in the Amazon space?
Sure. My name is Daniela Boltzmann. I am the founder of Mindful Goods, and we do launch-ready listings day in and day out for brands on Amazon.
Okay, and does it mean that you only work with the A+ content, or there are any other product listing elements to usually focus on?
We do product images, A+ content, listing copy, and storefronts.
Okay, sounds good. So I know you prepared some slides for us, but also some examples straight from Amazon, which we could have a look at together. So let's not wait no further and dive right into it.
So what we're going to be jumping into today is three things. One, we're going to break down some data of what's happening with A+ content. I'm going to show you some before and afters with our actual clients. And then we're going to jump into some examples in the wild of brands that we've curated over time within a swipe file that I think most people will get inspiration from. So we'll go through what we think is working for these brands and maybe what's not working so well either. So a little bit about Mindful Goods. We've been in business over 5 years. Our team is all freelancing females in 7 different countries, supporting over 100 brands every year with Amazon Creative. We're also one of 30 agencies that are in the Amazon Creative Services Verified Partner Program, which is a very small group of agencies that just do content for Amazon brands. But speaking of Amazon, something that I like to share is a conversation that I had with one of our reps at Amazon who said 3 things on a phone call: that 99% of brands need better content, and that great content should be making their money back within days, and that good content is no longer good enough. So those are 3 things that were music to my ears, because that is pretty much what we live by here at Mindful Goods. And so getting into A+ content, why does it matter? Why is this the key for conversion in our minds? Amazon reports that it's lifting sales across the board 5% for brands. This is taking into consideration the brands are not doing it well, right? And there's so many brands out there that are setting up A+ content and maybe not doing the best job, which we'll show some of those examples as well. So I think this number is actually low. DataHawk actually reported a lift in conversion rates from 72% to 210% when you're going from 0 A+ content to having A+ content. And that's more in line with what we've been seeing. And then the other thing that's really important to remember, minus the Amazon data, is just how we as humans take in data. That 90% of the data that we take into our brains is visual. It's not text on the screen, it's visual. So that's really the focus that we try to nail when we're thinking about Amazon creatives. On average, our clients are seeing 35% to 95.14% increase in sessions and 48 to 146% increase in sales. And this is from changing your Amazon creatives. Primarily, A+ content is one of the biggest factors that we focus on. And so what does great A+ content look like? This is what we're going to show you, just some really basic principles of what we apply to make A+ content that looks like this. This is an example of all of our clients here in this shot. Some of the things that I like to share before we jumped into the before and afters is that you want to be thinking about stacking your imagery to tell a story with banners. And so Amazon will try to distract you with these other modules that are really just not very useful, and they're not going to help you do the one thing the A+ content is meant to do, which is stop the scroll. So in order to stop the scroll, what we do is we stack these banners one on top of the next to create this landing page effect. We're building in story throughout the entire thing. We're building in color throughout the entire thing. And then we're building in things like media mentions, custom iconography. If a brand won an award, showing the steps of how to use the product, showing the product in use, all of those best practices are within that story. The final thing, which you may or may not see here, is we always try to include an SEO module, which in these examples, these 4 icons would have text underneath. these 4 icons would have text underneath, and then these 3 icons would have text underneath, which would be considered our SEO module because we're dropping in keywords within that text. The other thing you don't see here is that we always recommend a comparison grid for every client that has more than just one product. So if you have other products that you can cross-sell, you should always have a comparison grid. Premium A+ content is something that I wanted to point out because some of the examples we're going to share today are different from the basic A+ content, which we tend to do 80% of our work in basic A+ content still to this day. Most brands can get access to premium A+ content. It used to cost $100,000 to get access to it before. So what you need to do to qualify for this is to have Brand Story active on all your ASINs and to have 15 approved A+ content submissions within the last 12 months. So that is the best practice. Every 30 days, Amazon will review your account to tell you if you have access or not. The other thing that I love about when you do get access to premium A+ content is you get access to other modules that are going to give you a more strategic selection. You're going to get a pure seamless scroll like this, and then you can actually infuse full-scale video and UGC content. So to point out what this would be a full-scale video across the whole screen. This would be a carousel, which has these clickable tabs at the top, which is really nice for engagement. And to show you 2 more, you can have hotspots like this on top of your image to give your customers just a little bit more description of what you're trying to say here without overloading the screen with too much text, and also giving engagement through the process of interacting with your content. This is another module that I love. There's this one, which is not full scale video. It puts the video on one side and you put text on the other side. But what's even better than this is if you have user generated content, like lots of little snackable videos from, let's say, TikTok, you can actually use a different module than this, which is the carousel version of this, where you can have multiple videos scrolling on the screen. So clients can see different people using your product, talking about your product. That's how I would use this product if I had user generated content. These modules are not available in basic A+ content. So if you have premium A+ content, these are the modules that I would recommend using without a doubt. Okay, jumping into the before and afters. So this is a client, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of these founders because I think their stories are very different. And I think sometimes that's missing in the context of what we're talking about with Amazon. Different people launch brands for different reasons, and there are different stages in their journey when they come to us. And so this was a founder who was launching a product from scratch. She has a lot of experience in her industry, and she didn't know Amazon. She is a data nut, loves data, and she knew she needed to do it right because she knew that Amazon is a search engine. So she came to us, and she was actually very nervous about the investment of having someone set up her listing for her. She was nervous about doing A+ at the time. So when we first launched, we did her product images, we got her SEO copy done, and we got her live as fast as possible so she could start getting some sales. And once she saw that she was getting sales, she came back to us almost immediately for A+ content. And so with the A+ content, she was able to triple her sales month over month without turning on advertising yet. It was a net new brand, right? So she launched out the gate with product images and copy, then almost immediately reinvested that money into A+ content. And then she saw more gains on top of that. And so when we try to dissect, like, why did this work for her? Why does this work for the brands that we're seeing? What you have to remember is sometimes if you're not using A+ content in the beginning, you're only going to have this little tiny blurb of text here, which is fine for a little bit of SEO juice, but you're missing out on using all of this real estate for something big and bold and beautiful to sell shoppers and stop the scroll and get them to buy your product, right? And so you can see how something like this is far more convincing than this tiny little blurb. And this content is going to take up this full amount of space instead of just using only this tiny bit of space. So that's really the impact that A+ content makes. People wonder why A+ content is touted so much. It's because you're taking up so much more space in relation to if you just had your competitors advertising on your listings, right? So using the space that Amazon is giving you as a brand is super crucial. Here's another one. This is the VP of Marketing, Michael from Pop Chips. Within a couple months of working with them, they increased their sales by 255%. They did have advertising right after working with us. They turned on some advertising, so it's not 1,000% attributed to us. But to give you another example, this was Pop Chips before they had this small description. And at best case, I'm going to show you another example, what I see of other brands, how they set up their A+ content. It's either a blurb of text or it's using the wrong modules. Those are the two critical mistakes I see, right? So again, we're going from this tiny bit of space to this huge amount of space that we're taking up, telling this amazingly visual story of Pop Chips all the way down, building trust throughout. It's colorful, it's fun. Another example, Akasha Superfoods. So where this is, let me go back real quick, where this is a brand that was already selling on Amazon, doing fairly decent, and realized that there's a lot of competition in the space, but they can stand out if they make an impact with their creatives. They went ahead and invested, right? And this is a bigger, I would say like a bigger startup, not a solo founder like Anne here, but we have kind of a bigger startup. Then we have Anna from Akasha Superfoods, who is also a solo founder, super smart, set up her own Shopify website. But when it came to Amazon, she was also kind of stuck. She got her listing up and running, but she wasn't really getting any sales. And so she came to us, we overhauled her listings, product images, copy, and A+ content. And within 30 days, her sales increased 146%. But again, if we're looking at why, and looking at the before and after, if you just have a product description versus something like this, we're taking up so much more space. And the story that we're telling here with this product is all the benefits that you're going to get. So it's a little bit different from the other products that are maybe a little talking to the parents in terms of snacking. This one is talking about to humans the benefits of a prebiotic algae supplement, right? So very different type of content, but also similar examples in increasing sales. So those are the examples of just having text on your A+ content and then switching to graphics. So it's no wonder why you see such an increase in conversion, right? This is a client that's actually really unique. We did this A+ content for him. It was the first version of what we did. He approved it. He liked it. When we went back and looked at it again, though, and we went over the interview we had with him over the phone and just, in talking through him in the sales process, we realized we weren't really telling his story the best way that we knew we could. So we went back without telling him and we redesigned the entire thing. And what we're really trying to tell is the story of the impact that he's making, because a portion of the proceeds of his cassava flour is donated to his foundation, where he's taking care of children who will never be adopted. These are special needs orphans. He takes care of 30 of them. He puts 200 kids through school and he feeds 500 kids every day. And these are the direct impacts of buying this product. And I get the chills because we weren't really telling this in such a meaningful way here where you could see the numbers, where you could see the infographic, And so for this one, while we don't have the before and after tangible sales numbers for this client, we have a testimonial from him when he saw this as a surprise. And he was literally sent us a message saying he was literally dancing in his office and his employees thought he was crazy because he saw this and was like, finally, I have something that tells my story of what we are actually doing in the world and how we're making a difference. And so this is really what you want to strive for if you're a brand builder that's building something that you believe should be in the world. And if you're actually making a true difference, not just saying we donate a portion of our sales, but saying who does it go to? How many people get it? What is the true impact that's happening every year? And if you can be as transparent as possible, your story will just hit home way more with shoppers. Another example is Hella Cocktail. And so this is the other thing I typically see with A+ content. You'll see some nice banners set up, right? You'll see something like this looks like it was probably a piece of content they maybe had somewhere else, like on a sales sheet or their website. This is actually just a lifestyle image inside of a module with tech, they just typed in the text into the text box on Amazon. So this isn't anything designed. This is another module on Amazon that you just upload the lifestyle image and then you just write some text. And so the reason why I think this is a critical mistake for a lot of brands is because a lot of times when brands are setting this up, they're just trying to grab images from their website or copy paste text from their website. And you're missing out on the actual data behind the scenes of what is it that our shoppers are asking when they're looking at this product? How do we answer their questions very cohesively and tell a story that's going to compel them to read our content and buy this product, right? How do we think through this piece of content in this way, like a landing page, to really get their attention? How do we infuse SEO into that? How do we do it and take up as much space as possible that Amazon is giving us, right? And so if you're looking at something like this, you're getting one comparison grid. You're getting 3 modules here, 3 banners. And then you're getting, this is what we typically call an SEO module, right? And so what we're doing here is we're trying to really expand upon that and tell a full landing page story and make sure that what we're saying is very intentional at every part of the way down the screen as people are scrolling. Another example, just like that one, of using the Amazon modules, but not really thinking through what it's going to look like once it's all together. So you're going to have something like this where, again, you're just uploading the image, you're typing in text, maybe having these 4 steps here. And you can see how like this is not using all of the space. Look at all of this white space. For me, this is just dead space. It's just wasted space when you could have really taken the whole thing and done something like this, where you're fully taking over the Amazon space. You are deciding what is going to be on every single pixel so that you can tell your story and answer the customer's questions in a very thought-provoking way. So again, still using lifestyle imagery, but placing a story all the way down the page for this product. Okay, this is another example of a client that came to us years ago. Actually, we've been working with them for years. This is YesBar. And the first time we worked with them, they didn't really have a full brand guide or anything really tangible for us to hold on to. But when we went to their Shopify website and we went to their Instagram, they had so many amazing elements going on. It was like they knew what they were, but they didn't have it like in a document yet to tell designers who they were. So we kind of helped them put that together and we created this first version. The next thing that we did is they came back to us and they were going through an actual like full cohesive rebrand. And so we basically took all the information that we had already curated. So if you see, it's very similar, but now we're applying their true brand guide to this design and cleaning everything up. And it just gets that much more impactful. So the lesson here is that even though you might have some nice A+ content, you can always be testing now with Amazon Experiments and improving your A+ content over time, refining your A+ content over time, making it better and better. And as your reviews grow, you can incorporate that into your content. So this is a good example of a brand that just little by little over time, they're improving and improving and improving. And they are very much after incremental gains. They're not trying to just double their sales overnight. They're trying to get, you know, another 5% gain here, another 2% gain there, another 10% over here, just by testing different things on their Amazon pages. And this is what's working for them. So I think a lot of times we think about Amazon with this mindset of like, we need to go in guns blazing and spend a ton of money and then hope that we get it back. And it's just this like all or nothing approach. Whereas there's brands that are out there on Amazon that are just building year after year after year, little by little, and that's okay too. There's many founders that we work with that are also in that bucket, and that's totally fine. Okay, so that is the end of this portion of the presentation. So the next thing we're going to do is jump into the live examples. So this is our internal swipe files for some of the favorite brands that we've curated over time from Amazon. Some of the designs are things that we've done. Some of the designs are from brands that we love and that have really best-in-class examples of specific type of imagery. So we've saved it all from storefronts to A+ content to main images to specific types of product images. And so you can actually download this at the end of this presentation. But to jump into some of our favorite A+ content, what I showed you previously was primarily basic A+ content. And that is still 80% of what we build today is basic A+ content, because still not every brand has premium. But I thought it would be interesting to dive into some of the best in class or some of the best practices we're seeing with premium A+ content right now on Amazon. So this is a brand that I came across that I love. I think it's Whoops. And if you scroll down here to their A+ content, first of all, they have an amazing brand story. So I'm not going to dive into that, but just look at this imagery. It's just like so fun. I have a Frenchie, so I'm instantly like, ooh, what's this product? And using, just a pro tip for anybody that has a pet product, using lots of different types of dogs is super beneficial because people want to see their dog. And then they buy into sticking around your page longer and consuming your content. So this is Premium A+, and what you'll notice is, again, it goes all the way left to right. So basic will be kind of like taking up maybe 2/3 of the screen. This is like taking up the whole screen. The best practice that I pointed out that I love that they're doing is they have these hotspots on their images. And so even when we're designing basic A+ content, we always give our clients the Premium A+ content sizes so that when they do get advanced A+ content or Premium A+ content turned on their account, they have those files ready to go and they can upload them and just use specific modules. It's not like you have to redesign everything. If you have A+ content that's been designed really well for A+ content, you'll be able to reuse a lot of your content pieces for Premium. This is a really good example of something that could have, it will look just as good on basic as it does on Premium, but on Premium, it's a little bit more fun, right? Because you can click on the screen. The other thing is this is that carousel image that I was showing you that has this video here. This one is not using the carousel feature, but you can absolutely use the carousel feature. Usually though, you have to remember that Amazon is not going to like when you have, let's say you had a TikTok video that was like this size and it's going to fit inside of this square here. It's not, there's going to be black bars or white bars on the side of the screen, and Amazon doesn't like that typically. You might get away with it for a little while, but then your content might get rejected because that's a big no-no for them. I think they're trying to find solutions around this because they do want more UGC content on Amazon. But one thing you can do is you can, on the back end, see the dimensions of this. You can create a Canva image for this dimension, and then you can drop your TikTok video into that dimension and then re-download it in this size. So that's just a little pro tip. Again, using another hotspot image here. And so really, like when I'm looking at A+ content, I'm looking at it like this. I kind of zoom out and try to understand, okay, like what is the overarching like thing that's going on here in terms of the design? What are they saying? What's the story that they're telling? Do they have a benefits image? Do they have what are the types of imagery that's going on here? And you'll notice this as a pattern. If you're looking in your category and even outside of your category, you want to see, okay, top 10 sellers on Amazon. Let's go look at some of the best A+ content examples in my category, and then try to identify what images are working for them most often, and then try to do them better. And then maybe look for opportunities in what they're missing in their content that maybe can help you stand out, right? So again, they're using lots of different types of dogs here, lots of great photos of dogs that look really happy. So this, I think, is a really well thought through set of A+ content. Okay. All right, so this next example, I always love when brands use media mentions. So any chance you can do this, which by the way, it's supposed to be capped at 4. This brand has 5, so they're getting away with it. But maybe in Premium, maybe they're able to do more now. I don't know. So you'll see again, full widescreen here. This one has a full scale video that they're using. So if you have a great piece of video content, use it here. Like number one, that is the number one module for Premium A+ content, is use the full scale video if you have it. If you don't have it, make it a priority. This is a great chance to sell your customers with a beautiful video about your brand. It can even be something homegrown. It doesn't have to be something high polish. Shoppers are getting more and more accustomed to seeing real founders talking about their product. Just don't overthink it. Put a great video and you'll be surprised. Okay, so this is a carousel where we have these tabs at the top. Again, you can have just a standard banner. Yes, you can have a standard carousel, but why not add these nice tabs at the top just to get some extra engagement? Because you have to remember, Amazon is tracking everything that happens on your page. So if you can get customers to do a little bit more, that's going to play in your favor over time. Having instructions on your A+ content showing how to use it, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing more than that. Don't overcomplicate it. If you think it takes 6 steps to do your product, that's too many steps. It needs to be 3 or 4. I also like, if you have basic A+ content, I typically lean towards using your 3 steps or your 4 steps in the SEO module, because it makes it really easy for you to think about how to use 3 pieces of content left to right across the screen. And another pro tip is try to stay away from using squares in that SEO module. So try to think about circle shapes or abstract shapes or some other kind of fun shapes that are gonna not make your content look like a regular standard Amazon blocky page. You want it to feel special. And so this is an example of just having a regular carousel, which for me is fine, but it's kind of a missed opportunity because I think this is a little bit more fun and engaging, just a tiny little bit, right? So if I had the choice, I would just use the other one again. Yeah. This is what I mean by an SEO, but they didn't use it as an SEO. This is actually a banner. So if you can see the text is built onto the design. So I wouldn't have used this in this way. Because if you're going to use text like this, you might as well just put it on the screen inside of that specific module and get Amazon to index a piece of your A+ content for you. If not, then you might as well just design this in a better way to feel like it's more of your like landing page style, right? So just a couple like little pro tips that I see there. I'm getting really nitpicky, right? Like these are what I consider best in class examples on Amazon. And I'm a little nitpicky when I look at this stuff. Even this, when I'm looking at it at this level, it's super clean. It looks great. Could they have been a little bit more creative? Sure. But overall, I still give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. This example I love. And the reason why I love this example is because it's really considering that landing page effect. And again, I'm zoomed out on this, but look at how these images flow from one to the next. These are individual banners that are stacked one on top of the next that create this seamless scroll. So they're designed to go together. They're designed to capture your eye together. Same thing with this one. And same with them. This one, not so much, but they could have designed another image at the bottom that went with this. And then when you scroll, they could have been different content, right? But what I do love about this is this content is actually left to right, almost one seamless image, like the way that it flows. All the colors are kind of the same dark tones. For me, was really thought through. And they're actually starting at the top with their video. So really smart to bring this video to the top. And then they have their media mentions here in the story, in the brand story, which I've never seen. I haven't seen done yet. So I thought that was really creative. Usually you see your media mentions brought into the A+ content banners down here. So for me, this one is a 9 out of 10. Love this one. I wanted to show Poppy because it's a really basic example. They're not using premium. It's hard to imagine why they haven't turned on premium yet. I'm sure they have access to it. But I do think it's a really hot brand right now. And they're doing something really fun with color, you know? So it's just always fun. Like when you think about your category, think about the brands that are kind of creating a trend in the space, or like they are getting the media attention. Like go and look and see what they're doing on Amazon, because they're oftentimes you'll find like little things that they're doing, you know, that are helping to set them apart. And so you see here, they are stacking the banners. They're not using premium A+ content, but they do have this, what we'd call this SEO module. They're likely using it as an SEO module here because you can see it's just loaded with text. And then they have their cross-sell here in the comparison grid. And then lastly, this is a Japanese barbecue sauce that is all the rage right now on TikTok. So this is one that I found through TikTok, and I was just curious what they were doing on Amazon. And again, look at this huge imagery. This is 2 images, okay? Look how much room on the screen this takes up. Imagine if you did this with, anybody can do this with their product. There's not even any, it says Japanese barbecue sauce in the background, but like, it says Japanese barbecue sauce right here. Like you don't need to load it with text. You could just have this huge photo. And that's not even, this is 100%. Look at that. Takes up the whole screen, you know? So this is the kind of like pro hack, pro tip that I love to see. It's just like this little, it's like one little trick, taking 2 banners, boom. Anybody can put their product right at the top. Let's see if they have a video. They do have a video. And again, let's see how much the video takes. Not the whole screen, but a huge portion of the screen. And they went with these FAQs at the bottom. So This is another option. If you know that you get lots of questions about your product that you want to answer for the customer, then go ahead and use the Q&A. That can also be kind of a little SEO hack as well. And so the rest of the things that they're doing is just stacking these banners one on top of the next. So they didn't really do anything excessively creative here. It's just like these one little tips, stacking the banners and really just using the space as much as possible. Again, you see people within their images. So you're seeing the word family. You're able to identify with them. This is a very feels like a very homegrown brand that could almost be your neighbors, right? This is one of my favorite examples that I've come across recently. There's so many more inside of this document. We have it sorted by the types of imagery, so you can kind of scroll through and all of these different example brands. What you can do is we'll put a link on the screen where you can actually go to a page to download this swipe process to all of these examples. And that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Daniela. I mean, it was so interesting. I was kind of trying to pay attention to every little details because in the A+ contents you showed, I mean, the afters and the good examples, there's so many details, so many colors, so many elements to kind of just get inspired from and kind of think like, okay, how could I use something similar to my own A+? So thank you so much for gathering examples from your own work and also from Amazon. I think it's very useful for the sellers. One thing I wanted to ask, so looking at those A+ content examples, we could tell that those brands have really good photos of their products. So how should it usually work with creating like A+ content? Should sellers first have a photo shoot based on their own ideas and plans, and then kind of get those photos over to the designer, or should they have somebody kind of designing the structure and the baseline before they're actually doing the shot? So kind of like, do they need the photos before approaching a designer or rather afterwards to get like all of the right shots they need?
Yeah, really great question. What we do is kind of a hybrid. So yes, it is a lot easier. I'll be honest, as designers, creatives, it is so much easier to work with a brand when they come to us with really awesome imagery. I would say 60 or 70% of the brands we work with have really great imagery by the time that they're working with us. If they don't have really great imagery, we can create renders, we can put them into stock imagery, and we can do that. We can use UGC content. So it doesn't have to be photo shoot content. We recommend using Suna. Suna is a very affordable way to send your product to a studio somewhere in the United States. They have multiple locations throughout this where you can do a photo shoot basically for free, and then you just buy the images you like for $39. So we use the clients that want to pay a little bit more to get some photos. Because you do need it, right? You're going to need it for your socials. You're going to need it for your website. You're going to need it for other things. So you might as well just invest in getting some great photography. For my own brand, as an example, I have a difficult product to shoot. It's a jigsaw puzzle. So it has to be assembled before you can actually ship it and shoot it. Unless someone's going to assemble it at a photo studio, they would likely charge you a lot of money to do that. So that's a really difficult product to shoot. So I first did renders, right? So if you have a difficult product shoot, or maybe you don't have it yet, you have a photo of the product, maybe at the factory or whatever, you could do a render, and then you can put it into lifestyle. Really great quality lifestyle imagery is the trick. And so for a brand example would be a brand like at the time we first worked with them, they didn't have a ton of photography of their product. They had just their main images of their product. Even the main images we had to improve and create renders on. So we created renders. We used a lot of their UGC throughout their content. And that's actually what made it feel so much more personal as a brand, right? And so now when you look at their latest content, they have a lot more custom imagery. They have a lot more UGC built in, and then everything's really refined and clean. So they've kind of used what they had over time and leveled up. And I think that's the way to go in a lot of cases. In my brand, I did renders first, and then I switched to photography. And then, I just kind of every, 6 months try to refresh things a little bit.
Okay, that's definitely a very good idea, and probably inspiring for many sellers who think that they don't have a budget for the highest level thing yet, but actually they could do a lot with their tight budget and then just improve over time. So yeah, we will put a link to the description of the file you showed with all of the examples. But before we go for today, could you once more give us an overview of what kind of services do you offer to Amazon sellers and how they could work together with you?
Sure. So you can find us at launchreadylistings.com or at mindfulgoods.co. You can book a call with us there. We offer launch packages for Amazon to refresh your creative. So again, anything from product images to SEO copy, A+ content, and storefronts. And we're doing it at a different level of, as you've seen from the examples that I presented today. We're really trying to give brands the direct-to-consumer e-commerce look on Amazon. We're not trying to just design cookie cutter design. So we're all about just like stepping outside the box and doing something innovative on Amazon.
Okay, love it. So thanks again for joining me, and I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you.
I hope this video inspired you to take action on your premium A+ content right now. If you enjoyed the tips provided in the video, hit the like and subscribe buttons below. As well, leave a comment in case you have additional questions. Also, check the link in the description to learn more how Daniela can help you to craft your Amazon product listings. And now, I recommend you to watch other video where Chris Rawlings shares tips on how to generate exceptionally converting listings using premium Amazon A+ content and ChatGPT.